What's going on, guys? Welcome into episode number 29 of the Ask Tony Show. Fun fact about the number 29, that is my age. So I'm almost 30, but I'm still 29. So you may or may not have known that, but now you know. So let's get started.
How did you make it on the Forbes Council?
The Forbes Council was kind of interesting. It kind of fell into my lap in the sense that I wasn't planning to be on the Forbes Council. Like, it wasn't something that I knew about before, but there's an agent in my market. His name is Jimmy Rex, and he's one of the most successful real estate agents here in the market. I actually just reviewed his book last week. Check that out. But so he posted that he was on it. And so I was like, So I started to look into it a little bit. I saw what the requirements were, and I applied. And you have to go through this whole process. And so I applied and I finally made it. So I'm in my second year as a member of the Forbes Real Estate Council. It's been a great experience so far. I've learned a ton. We've been able to publish a couple of articles in the magazine, and just kind of the networking. You know, there aren't very many agents that are on that council nationwide. So it's kind of an exclusive group. So it's just kind of cool to be able to network, talk to people who in many cases do more than I do, or bigger than I am, or have more experience than I have, and to be able to bounce ideas off of them, learn from them, and also contribute my own insight and things like that. So I'm very grateful to Forbes, and I'm excited to be a part of that project.
Pros and cons of buying a fixer-upper.
Fixer-upper, I'll be honest, I'm not the most handy man in the world. My wife can tell you that. She's way more handy than I am. But so I'm not a big fan of buying fixer-uppers just because I don't like to do the work. So the first obvious con is you got to do the work. So you're going to have to remodel, and that costs money. So whenever somebody's going to buy a fixer-upper, my recommendation always is you have to have the money to buy the property when it comes to down payments, closing costs, things like that. But at the same time, you got to have money to fix the property. So you got to really go through your budgets. You got to make sure you know what everything is going to cost. If you're going to change flooring, if you're going to paint, whatever you're going to do, you got to make sure that you know what that is going to cost and that you have the money for it. What a lot of times happens that I've seen with a lot of folks that buy fixer-uppers is they kind of buy it like as a project, and like, okay, I would like to have a project like a fixer-upper. So they buy a fixer-upper, but they didn't have the money to fix it, right? It was just kind of like a cool idea to be able to slowly over time fix things. But what ends up happening is things go wrong because obviously it's a fixer-upper and it has issues. And so if you don't have the immediate cash to fix those issues, then you might run into problems. So those are obviously the cons. The pros are you get to build it on your own, right? You get to kind of design the house however you would want to design it. That's what my wife is really attracted to, is the idea of being able to build it yourself, kind of make it custom, make it your own, and things like that. And also there are a lot of people who are very, very handy, and they like doing the work. So if you're that kind of person, a fixer-upper might work for you, but just make sure that you know your numbers.
What was the biggest decision in your life that made you successful today?
One of the things that I always talk about, and one of the things that really, really helped me to get to where I'm at is very simple. I just listen to my parents. My mom, when we were growing up, she was very adamant about us speaking Spanish, for example, and she hated it when we spoke English in the house. And it was the cause of a ton of problems. And obviously when you're young, it was annoying. I didn't like it. I felt like it was stupid. But, she got us to speak Spanish. So now, my siblings, we all speak pretty good Spanish. And that's thanks to her being so strict when it came to having us speak Spanish. Also, just when it comes to real estate in general, I got into real estate because my parents told me to. I came off of my mission. I had other plans. And I may or may not have told this story before, but I was going to go off to BYU, Idaho. I had my dorm. I had my schedule. I had my roommates. I had everything. And Daniel, my mentor, he went to high school with my parents. And so on one occasion, we ran into him at like a burger joint, and that kind of started the process, right? He asked what I was up to, what I was doing. My parents basically said, not much. He's going to go to college. And so that kind of started me on the path of doing real estate. Obviously, being young, I wanted to be with my friends. I wanted to do other things. But in the end, I did what my parents told me to do. And I wasn't always happy about it. I'll be honest. I mean, my parents and my mom and I had a very, very rocky relationship for years, for decades, I would say. We did not have the best relationship. But now looking back, I realized I did what she told me to, you know. My mom, she's very, and I say more my mom because my dad is very laid back. So the conflicts that I had were mostly with my mom, but you know, she would always give her opinion, give her 2 cents. And in many occasions, I did not agree at the time with what she would tell me. And she always had an opinion on everything. And she still does, you know, from my career to who I was dating to all sorts of stuff, the decisions that I made. And in the moment, I didn't agree. And that's kind of why it was a source of so much conflict. But the decision that really marked my life and got me to where I am is, at the end of the day, I just listened to her and I listened to what she said. And it turns out that she knew best.
What do you look for in new agents?
For me, it's all about attitude, guys. And I think I've mentioned this in the past, but when you're a new agent, you know, you have a lot of hopes, you have a lot of dreams. And for me, it's all about attitude. Our brokerage's name is Real Team Realty because we try to build a real team. And when it comes to business, when it comes to real estate, a lot of people aren't too into that idea. A lot of people don't want to share, don't want to contribute. They might feel like they're losing money if they are part of a team. But for me, it's all about your attitude. It's all about being a team player, being willing to come into a system and contribute and be coachable and learn. So for me, it's all about attitude 1,000%.